What's up, y'all? This is Scion Rae, and I'm rocking with We Are Jersey. I'm here interviewing Kärma.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I almost got lost in the rain today, but
Okay.
I made it.
It happens. It happens to the best of us. So, since you almost got lost, tell me what it was like growing up in Jersey City, where you know your routes.
Well, growing up in Jersey City was rough. Like it's considered like the hood, right? The hood area. So, just it definitely seasoned me up, but it was rough. Like I was fighting. I was going to like very like underfunded schools and shit. So it just was the type of environment where you have gangbangers and you got people on the corner when you're trying to go to the corner store and get some chips and the icy. Like it's just that kind of environment just kind of like molded me into I feel who I am now, where I feel like I can exist in anywhere, like in all avenues. Yeah. So
you say like it prepared you?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
How did it influence your music?
I want to say probably production-wise, like, just being from up north, period, like, we have a really gritty type of production. Like, when you listen to, like, old school shit like Wu-Tang Clan or, like, Method Man, Redman, and all of them, like, their shit, even Mary J. Blige, like, being from New York, right? Just a very gritty but, like, soulful feel, and I feel like that's what stuck to me as far as, like, when I choose my production, when I work on music and stuff like that. Like, I have that ingrained in me. That's just what I like.
Right. And so what kind of music did you grow up on? Did you grow up on like that Method Man type of Mary J. Blige?
Yeah, well actually I didn't start listening to that kind of stuff until I got like 12, 13, 14. But when I was really young, I was listening to like Norah Jones and Brandy and Mariah Carey and like exactly. Like Toni Braxton. Those are like, I think the first albums that I can remember me listening to was like Toni Braxton's The Heat album, like the red cover where she had the skirt on, and Brandy's Never Say Never album, like, just all the old school stuff pretty much, and also older stuff also, like Temptations and
you took it back.
Like Stevie Wonder. Like I grew up in a music household. Like my grandfather was a musician and my dad also was a musician, so I was just constantly, like, I had hella records and tapes and shit to pull from.
So you already knew where you was going?
I didn't actually. Yeah. I didn't know I was gonna do music, but I just loved music, like, as a kid. So
okay. And when did you actually start singing yourself?
I think I was around like 6 or 7, probably younger than that. I mean, kids sing, but like I didn't realize that I sounded good until I was around like 7 years old or so. And like my family was like, "Oh, sing that song, you sing it," like, and then I was singing stuff. But I never thought that, like, even then that young, I never was like, oh, I want to be an artist or anything. I just was like, oh, I like music, oh, I sound good singing, so I'm just gonna sing all the time. Like that was my thing.
Right, as you should. And at what point did you adopt the name Kärma? Like, was it given to you?
I gave it to myself.
Okay.
And I gave it to myself because I feel like it fits me. And I feel like it fits me because, I'm a really, really fair person. Like, I treat people the way they treat me. And, like, the law of karma is basically, like, whatever energy you put out, it comes back to you. One way or another, right? Whether that's good or bad. So I feel like that fits me, and it's really spicy of a name to have for a singer. So, and I don't feel like my first name, my real name is Candace, and I didn't feel like that fit me as an artist name, so I chose Kärma.
You don't feel like it hit enough?
No, hell no. It's like Candace.
Right.
But then when you say Kärma, it's like, who the fuck is that?
Let me say it clear. Let me make sure I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Because she might hurt me.
Well, I don't know about all that, but...
Okay. So, do you feel like, between Candace and Kärma, would you say that you feel like Kärma is your alter ego, or is that more of who you actually are?
I don't feel like I have an alter ego. I feel like Kärma is more of fitting of who I am. Like, I don't feel like the name Candace fits me at all, because when you hear Candace, you hear like girl next door. She's really sweet. She's like helping your grandma to the house with bags and shit. Like, I am that person, but I'm very, like, I grew up in Jersey City. Like, I have that spice, that roughness to me, and I feel like that fits me more.
Okay.
So I wouldn't consider it an alter ego. That's just me.
It's
Like
just
if I was to change my name, I would change it to Kärma.
as you should. It's more honest. So, as an artist, like nowadays, what would you say like you're passionate about?
Everything, honestly. I'm sensitive. I'm an artist and I'm also sensitive. I know that's like so typical to say. Like a lot of artists say that, but I feel I've always been really sensitive to my environment. I've always been sensitive to my feelings, like, and just everything around me. So yeah, I'm passionate about everything. I'm passionate about my friends. I'm passionate about school because I'm in college. I'm passionate about music, engineering, modeling, like everything that I do. I feel like I'm passionate about. So that's what drives me. Just, you know, being 100% engulfed in the things that I love to do.
Right. That's dope. What are you studying in college?
Psychology and education.
Ah. So you're gonna teach people about karma?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be a guidance counselor.
Okay.
And that's something that I've always wanted to do actually since I was very young. Before the whole music thing came along and I was like, oh, I like to do music, I'm actually good at it. I always wanted to like study psychology. So I was just like, why not still do that? Right. Even though my artistry is at the forefront. So
it's still something that you want to like
dive
into.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, and who would you say nowadays inspires you, like stylistically? I see it, you got a fly jacket on.
Thank you.
It's really fly.
Last place winners actually customized this for me, you know. Shout out to them. But stylistically, like the way I dress, I don't know. I would say Tiana Taylor.
I can see that.
Most 90s artists in general, Mary J. Blige. Like, you know, those old movies, like Baps, like shit like that. Like, okay. I just like, my heart is with the old school. So the way that I dress, it reflects in that. Like sometimes I mix it up and I dress more modern or whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, like I'm giving you 90s R&B. Okay. So.
And would you say that the 90s also influences your sonic style?
What? Yes. Especially when I first began, like my first project, Life After Love, that's available on DeSean, by the way. That one was heavily, like, all of the production damn near just like straight 90s. Going back, like all of that shit, heavy knocking, kicks, 808s, like that's definitely a huge inspiration for me. But I think generally, just older stuff, period. Like, and not even just 90s, 80s, like the old 50s music and shit. Like all of the old shit before like maybe 2010 on inspires me.
That makes sense. Do you want to give like your listeners a sense of nostalgia?
Yeah, because you know what? It's crazy. Like, I'm a independent artist, right? Technically, you would consider me underground. So there's still a level of normalcy that I have as an artist. So I'm not like being chased down by anybody in the street, like Kärma. So I'm a normal person. And with that being said, like a lot of the people that I talk to, when I listen to them speak about music, especially R&B and where it is, they're like, damn, I miss when R&B artists was doing X, Y, Z. Damn, I miss when singers were actually singing. Damn, I miss when blah, 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 blah. Like, so me paying attention to that and me also already being rooted in that nostalgia, it's like, oh, this is perfect for me. Ain't nobody else doing this right now. Like, I got this in the bag. So, like, yeah, that definitely, like, I pay attention to what my peers and what people my age and, you know, my generation are saying about music. And they miss that nostalgia. So I'm here to serve that up nice and cold, nice and hot.
That's it, with the
nice
spice.
And cold, nice and hot. With the spice,
yes. You can't miss that.
Absolutely.
So, besides singing, like, what else do you do? Like, do you have any more talents?
So I songwrite. I'm a songwriter. I'm an engineer, a creative director, a model.
I'm gonna have to start keeping tab. Go ahead.
We'll just leave it there for now as far as like creative shit. So yeah, those are the things that I do.
Okay. Which one would you say is your favorite?
Songwriting.
Wow.
It just puts me in a place where I feel I'm able to just be free. like 100% free. And I feel that way with all the other avenues as well, but specifically songwriting, for the most part, that's all me. Like, that's all for me, and that is just all me. So, yeah, like, I get to just be authentic and have that outlet, which is why I started to do music in the first place. Like, I was writing poetry and everything beforehand, and then I, you know, felt like, damn, like, I could do this, like, music shit. I also have, like, a voice. I sound good. Okay, cool. But, like, it's an outlet for me. So I feel most free and most, I guess, like, I feel most free and most creative when I'm songwriting. Yeah, that's the best part.
That's dope. I think, like, a lot of people do make music because it is, like, so freeing, so they use it to, like, vent. Have any of your poems made it to songs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would never ever let anyone hear it, right? But back then, when I first started, the first poem I wrote, I recorded as a rap. Nobody knows that. Nobody's gonna hear it. Well, now they know.
No, they know. They're gonna be looking for it.
And now they ain't gonna hear that.
Okay.
Because it was horrible. But, but you know, that's my foundation. So.
Okay. And so, what's your process like? So, I know typically people would download a beat, take a beat from YouTube, start rapping to it. Do you start with your lyrics first, like with some of your poetry now?
Well, I feel for me, it starts with me feeling the need to release, right? So once I'm in that space, well, even sometimes I'm not feeling the need to release, but we'll start there. When I'm feeling the need to release, I will, you know, go straight to that. Like, that's my outlet, right? So 9 times out of 10, I already have, like, beats from producers that I work with. So I'll just go through those, and whichever one is, like, speaking out to me, that's the one that I'll have to focus on and start writing to it. And I usually start off with, sometimes I start off writing, like, sometimes it'll just come to me like this, and the words just come, and I'm just writing, and then other times I start off with finding a melody, and then getting that melody structured to, like, something that's flowing really good, and then I'll fill in the words according to the melody that I have and according to the feeling that I'm feeling and what it is that I want to write about.
Okay.
So that's normally the process for me.
That's cool. So words or melodies. So with our words and melodies, we're gonna get into this Brie EP,
Yay.
which I really love, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to know, like, what was the process of creating it? Like, was it hard working with producers? Was it hard, like, getting your ideas out there, telling what you need?
No, it wasn't difficult at all. I think what was more difficult for me was the time frame that I was trying to put it out, because we were in the middle of a lockdown. Yeah. So it was like, mentally, I was just kind of like all over the place, and that whole lockdown gave me time to slow down, figure out what I wanted to do, figure out what wasn't working, or shit that you just do off just autopilot, like just being an artist and feeling like, okay, I gotta do this. But once you have that time to slow down and figure out what you actually want to do, and the shit that you're just doing to fill up, you know, time and space because you feel like you have to do it as an artist, you can really decipher where you want to go direction wise and what matters, what you keep, like the meat and bones, and then you just throw everything else away, right? So when I was putting 3 together, I already had most of the songs, actually 2. I had Break Off and Creep, they were done already, but Clouded Eyes, I had made that during like the lockdown.
Okay.
And it really wasn't a difficult process to make the music at all. It was me just battling, okay, do I want to put this out? Do I want to add more songs? Do I want to do an album? Do I just want to do an EP? Do I want to give them only 3 songs? Is this okay? Are they going to like it? Like, that's the process that was difficult for me. And then, you know, just figuring out, like, how I wanted to market it, how I wanted it to look visually, aesthetically, like, you know, those were the things that was most difficult for me. But as far as, like, creating the music, that shit was a piece of cake. Okay. That was really easy.
What part that was, like, the most challenging, like, in creating it?
The most challenging in creating it?
Yeah.
Like, as a whole, I would say I didn't have any challenges creating it. I think I had challenges putting it out.
Okay.
Like that project was supposed to come out in March of 2020. It didn't come out until September.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest part for me. Just getting past all the mental stuff that was holding me up.
Right.
And just basically overthinking, being anxious, things like that. Like, that was probably the hardest part. But then once that was over and I put it out, I was like, oh shit, this is doing a lot.
It's just out there.
Yeah, it's wilding. Like,
Sure.
it just took off. Like, so.
And so since you said Break Off and Creep were already done, and the first one, your first song,
That is Clouded Eyes.
Clouded Eyes was the last song that you actually did create. So were there any more like in the stash that you were thinking about
hell
putting
yeah.
out?
There was like 8-9 songs supposed to be on the project. But I narrowed it down because I wanted to take time to really wrap up those songs instead of just like putting it out. Like I was saying before, as an artist you feel like you gotta constantly just do stuff because that's what you're supposed to do as an artist, but then when you take time to like sit on your work, revisit it, rework it, add stuff, take away stuff, or just scrap stuff completely, change the direction, like you have to give yourself time to do that because you don't want to just dish shit out giving people microwave work just because you gotta keep up with this and that. Like, you feel me? And I'm not the type of person, well, I was becoming the type of person that felt like I had to do that. But once, like I said, the whole pandemic shit, it gave me a chance to slow down and you know, really just think about direction-wise what I wanted to do with the project. So instead of putting out 9 songs, I bumped it down to 3, and I'm like, let me work on my album, and I'll keep these songs to the side for the album, and these can go on the EP, and do it like that.
Right, so you give them a little piece while you keep like the
Teasers.
I understand, I feel you. So what made you choose these 3?
Well, Break Off. Well, in general, 3 was a time of transition for me. Like I said, pandemic, right? So everything shut down, no work, no school, no nothing, no shows, no nothing. Like, niggas is in the house, right? Are y'all bleeping that out?
Stuck.
People were in the house. So, yeah, and like, those songs represent the transition. I was going through a breakup also. So, Clouded Eyes, I put that as a first song because that was me recognizing where we were in our relationship, where we were with each other mentally, emotionally. And then Break Off, obviously, was me transitioning into leaving that relationship and leaving some friendships and things like that behind. And then Creep just was that vibe, that, you know, that sexy vibe that topped off the project altogether, right? So it was a time of transition for me.
Okay. So with Creep, and with seeing those like changes in that relationship with your partner, how did that feel? Like, what did you go through anything mentally during that time?
Yeah, it's difficult. Like, when you've been with someone for so long, it's difficult to walk away from that, and it's also sometimes heartbreaking to see those changes and like have to just accept that that's the direction that you guys are going in. Like, so it was definitely challenging emotionally, mentally for me. But thankfully, I have the outlet of music to write about this kind of stuff, to get it out so that it's not sitting on me, you know? And I think that's a good thing about being an artist, an authentic artist at least. Like, you know, you use your experience as a teacher, and you use it as a way to create beautiful shit, beautiful art, and share it with everybody else. So
I think that's the most important.
I agree.
So I want to know, like, what do Clouded Eyes look like? How do you keep that? Like, how do you see that from
They look
afar?
high.
No.
Looks
They
like
look
you're
high?
high.
Oh, okay.
But no, Clouded Eyes is basically a metaphor for people just not really seeing the core of what's important, right? So when I was writing that song, it was basically, you know, when two people are together and they're going through things, like one person is focused on what they're feeling and what they're going through, the other person is focused on what they're feeling, what they're going through, but they're not seeing the big picture, and they're not looking at the root and the core of the fact that, yo, I love this person, You feel me? Like, feelings can be sorted out, feelings can be changed, feelings can be different the next day when you wake up, but sometimes we become so suffocated by what we feel that it causes us to be blind to what's really in front of us. And I feel like that was a perfect way to explain that without really explaining that. Give people something to think about. You know?
Absolutely, which I love. And I wanted to know, like, how important is or was like time in that relationship, because in a couple of your lyrics you talk about like not wanting to waste time in that space and wanting to get away from that person because of their clouded eyes.
Yeah, I think for me and for anyone that, you know, we are not here for a long time. We don't live forever, and no matter how much you love someone and how much you want to be with someone, if it's not working out and y'all not seeing eye to eye and you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, it's up to you to get out of it. You feel me? And don't let anybody string you along or waste your time or feel like you have to stay in any situation that is not feeding your soul, is not feeding your heart. And I think that that's just a really important thing. You know,
for
like
sure.
sometimes people take that for granted. So
most definitely, I see that's the spice right there. Like it through a song track, break off. I'm wondering, like, how are you with trust now?
well, I don't give a lot of that out because people just take advantage, and I'm a loner. I mean, I know a lot of people, I have friends and stuff, but typically, like, I like to be by myself. So letting somebody in that space is a lot for me. So once you reach that trust and you overstep that, it's a wrap. It's done, dada. So the way I feel about it right now is very, very selective. I'll just say that. I'm very selective.
Okay. And are you more like sensitive to people's flaws and inconsistencies, like friends, family, like whoever?
I wouldn't say I'm more sensitive. I'm more aware.
Okay.
But I just charge it to the game and just deal with them accordingly. With those inconsistencies and flaws and behaviors that don't resonate with me or that I don't like. You can't change anyone, and everybody has their own journey and their own time to become aware and to adjust themselves how they need to. So it's a lot of work when you're trying to grow people for them. You feel me? So what I do is keep game and just move accordingly. That's all you really can do. If not, I would be a miserable person.
Honestly.
Right?
So, in the industry, like, do you find yourself, because you are more to yourself, do you find yourself like straying from artists or like gravitating to specific artists who you actually do enjoy?
It's difficult now because a lot of stuff just sounds exactly the same. Like, even more so, like, I feel like every generation had its sound in general, but like you still had people that had their originality. But now I feel like a lot of people just sound exactly the same. So for me, like we were talking about earlier, I'm just really nostalgic. Like, I listen to older stuff, or I'll try to find like artists that are different, that penetrate like certain parts of me that I miss hearing in music. But for the most part, it's not too many new artists that I like, but I do like her a lot. Jasmine Sullivan, she's not new, but I love her. I like DeSean, I think that's how you say his name.
He's fire.
He's dope. Snow Allegra is dope. I love Hiatus Coyote. That's a band. You know who they are, right?
Of course.
Okay, very good.
A lot of people know.
Yeah, I love them. I like Chris Brown sometimes, off the record. But I love Chris Brown. I would like to work with him, but yeah, just it's hit or miss. Like, it depends, but for the most part, that's like who I gravitate towards, artists like that.
And since you said you like Chris Brown, you would like to work with him, do you have any other like dream collabs?
Oh yeah, of course. I named a couple of them actually. So I definitely want to work with Jasmine Sullivan.
Okay.
Definitely want to work with Kendrick Lamar. Definitely want to work with SZA. For now, that's like all I could think of right now off the top of my head.
Okay. That's fire though. So for the last song off the EP, Creep, tell me about it. Where's your head at?
I was thinking about doing that, but I didn't. So I just wrote a song about it, right? Wrote a song about how I was feeling. And just basically being neglected, like feeling neglected in a relationship, feeling like y'all aren't connected chemistry wise and things like that. And you know, seeing what else is on the side, who's checking for you, like, and entertaining that, like telling that person what they want to hear, so that you can kind of get what you want out of the situation, right? So.
For sure. So you live through the song instead.
Okay. Instead of acting it out.
Right. And in hindsight, if you were to live it out, do you think it would have been fulfilling?
No.
Right.
Nah, I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, like when your heart is with someone, that just is what it is. When you do shit like that, 9 times out of 10 you feel like shit afterwards. So probably wouldn't work. I'm too sensitive for that. Because then I would have beat myself up and then guilt trip myself forever. So it's just like, nah.
Right. And how are you like with trust now, like with other people?
I think, like I said, I'm really selective. I still trust people, but I'm not willing to let everybody in at the same time. Like you have to protect your energy, protect your well-being, protect your head, protect your neck. You feel me? So protect your heart, exactly. And those are the things that I keep at the forefront. So I do trust the people that I have around me, but I'm just not so open to letting anyone around me. So.
Sure. That makes absolute sense. So, do you have a message for your younger self, your 7-year-old self that is just learning how to sing, likes her voice?
Yeah, I would probably say stay away from boys. Stay the hell away from boys. Stay away from rappers. Stay away from creatives in general. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I would say that. Focus on yourself. You know, hone in on your talents. Like I went through a lot of things when I was younger, so you know that kind of takes you away from like your passions and things like that. But I would just say like hone in on that, like focus on that 100%. Because I feel personally what I would have done differently was started younger, right? I didn't put my first project out until I was like 21, 22. So yeah, that would be my advice to my younger self.
Okay. And is there anything that like you wish you would have known at a younger age?
That's a good question. I wish I would have known that I was that as talented as I was that young, because I didn't know. I didn't fully understand or grasp that until maybe like 5-6 years ago, to be 100% honest. So I wish that that's something that I was able to recognize, but everybody has their own journey, and in divine timing you learn and you realize what you're supposed to learn and realize. So yeah.
For sure. So now, like with your process, would you say like you criticize yourself, or do you like flow through your creation?
I think I do criticize myself, but not in a negative way. I think that it's more so, how could I make this better, or what could I have done differently? So like, for example, when I put out music, like that's done, that's out in the universe. There's no going back to that. It is what it is, right? But I will always study that and see, okay, what we're going to do differently this time. Right. What could I have done differently here to make this better? All right, I want to do this, but I want to do it differently, like, or add something to, like, things like that. That's the way I feel I criticize myself. And I always make sure that it's in a positive notion, as opposed to being like, oh, this is ass, or this is whack. Like, no, this is cool, but you could do better. Like, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people, like they work with like regret. So would you say that just putting something out there, like, does that aid your creative spirit?
No.
No? It doesn't?
No, it doesn't. No, it has to be perfect to my standards. It has to be perfect to my standards. If it's not, if I don't feel like, there's so much music, my manager and very beloved friend B would always say, like, why you ain't put this out, or what are you doing? Like, she has a lot of unreleased music that I've sent her, and I'll be like, yeah, I like it, but I don't love it. I'm not crazy about it. It's not perfect to my standards, so I'm not gonna put it out, even though you love it and you enjoy it. it has to be like I have to feel 100% like confident and satisfied with it for me to put it out. So I'm not the type of person to just dish stuff out just because I gotta put something out. Like, I know the pressure of being an artist, you feel like you have to have content out constantly with the times that we're in, but as far as my music, that's not something that I ever just dish just to put out. Nah.
Well, that's real.
I'm too much of a perfectionist for that.
As you should be. So as a perfectionist, do you have any upcoming projects, singles? We got another EP coming through.
Actually, I have a song with this artist named Javi from Jersey City. That's out now. You can download that on all streaming platforms, called Work It Out. I also have a few projects that I'm going to be releasing towards the end of the year, but we're going to keep that in the tuck because I don't like to really speak about things until, you know, it's like rolling. So, but yeah, I have some projects coming out.
Right, that makes sense. So, that was it. I mean, if you have any tags, like links that the people need to know about.
You had some great questions.
Thank you.
I
You had some great answers.
Thank you. Yeah, y'all can follow me on Instagram at The Real Kärma, Twitter at The Real Kärma. You can visit my website, lovekarmamusic.com, for all of my music, my videos, photos, all of that good stuff.
So this is Scion with We Are Jersey, and this is my interview with Kärma. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
We are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey.